The Strategic Hotbox with Dr. Brandi Love Stankovic. Discussing leadership, business, and how to take control of your life and achieve greatness. From the streets of Las Vegas, energized, informed, and never diluted. It's time to kick some ass.
Hey, it's your girl, Dr. Brandi Stankovic, and I am here with Laura Gassner Otting. Today's episode's going to be great. We're going to do some right now coaching. We're going to answer your questions. Thank you to all of you that reached out to us and gave us those challenges or problems that you were having. We're going to tackle as many as we can here, or we're just going to give a bunch of bullshit and they're going to... No, I have a subject matter expert here with me. We're very lucky to have her on the Strategic Hotbox, and we'll get to know her here in just a second. It's time to get unstuck. In the Strategic Hotbox, as you know, we learn, we love, and we kick ass. And today, we like to switch things up. We're continuing to learn here on the Hotbox. And with our subject matter expert in our love section, we're going to provide some opportunities and some coaching and some tools for different challenges that people are having. So you're getting a little bit of everything today and a taste of a few different strategies. So there'll be a lot of kick ass that happens throughout the episode. And if there's any follow-up things that come throughout the day, then please feel free to reach out to us and send us that information or other questions or follow-up or thoughts that you might have, because we'd love to take it and absorb it. When we think about getting unstuck, have there ever been a moment in your life when you got to this place and you get stuck in this rut? And I mean, they're inevitable to feel, or plateau that we might be feeling, or a place where you're just not able to break through whatever, whether it's a glass ceiling or an in your head ceiling or a societal feeling or something that's happening at your office, anything that's occurring where you're really wanting to shake loose and push and drive change forward. And really, it's about reactions and how you react that will determine whether or not you can get unstuck, or if you end up staying exactly where you're at. And I'm sure we've all heard the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting something different. But it happens so often in life, and it happens so often in reality. And I think there have been moments where we can get down, and sometimes it takes getting out of those moments and doing a rear view mirror or a hindsight check to go, whoa, I didn't even realize things were where they were, or my mental place was in the place that it was. And sometimes that growth is what allows you to see that you're in the rut even to begin with. So with our guest, Laura Gassner Otting, we're going to join together and discuss and help people recognize maybe when they're in those places and how we can give strategies better to move forward. So in a formal introduction, Laura is a badass, right? So woo,
hello.
We're really excited that you're here. You're author, you're motivational keynote, you're a TEDx speaker, confidence catalyst, and from a background or an education standpoint, you've got your bachelor's in government from the University of Texas, a master's in political management from George Washington University, so right in the heart of where things are happening. You were a presidential appointee during the Clinton administration, but you've also done a lot of organizational work, nonprofit guru, were in 20 years in executive search and helped shape AmeriCorps. So thank you for being here. Welcome.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. It's going to be so much fun today.
This is going to be good. So tell us a little bit about your journey in leadership and what brought you here today.
Yes, so I grew up thinking that I was going to be the first female United States Senator from the great state of Florida. That was going to be my experience. And then I got involved in politics and I was like, oh no, I am never running for office. But what I learned that I was really good at was figuring out how to put the right people in the right job so that they could change the world. And I realized that while I could do okay on the stage, what I really loved doing was being stage left and helping amplify other people and make them great. And so I tell people my superpower is that I can see people's greatness and I can reflect it back on them in a way that they can demand better of themselves. And so I spent 20 years doing that. I love doing it. And when I sold the firm that I founded to my team, right, something you can't do unless you help your people be great on their own, I got asked to do a TEDx. And then in that TEDx, that got a little bit of attention. And then people started offering me money to go speak places. And I thought, wait, this is a job?
Right.
Like, someone's going to pay me to talk, right? I'm just a Jewish mother. Like, I could do that naturally. I'll do that for free. So I started getting offered money to talk, and I thought I better figure out how to do this for real. And so I got some training, and I, continuing to learn. so that I could continue to kick ass. And so here I am in this crazy fun adventure where I've taken everything that I've learned from watching leadership at the highest levels in the Oval Office to helping thousands of people through these great career transitions by figuring out exactly what type of leader they are. Are they the leader in the front? Are they the leader from the side? Who are they when they're at their best? And then now taking that to stage and helping mentoring and teaching and coaching and amplifying other people. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I love it. Amplifying other people is such a great way to put that out there. So what does it mean for someone to get unstuck?
Well, I think a lot of us have this idea of what success is supposed to be, right? We have all these check boxes and we spend all this time filling them up. I'm going to go to the right school and I'm going to have the right internship and I'm going to get the right college and I'm going to get the right first job. And at the end of the day, we turn back and we look at all these filled check boxes and we go like, why the hell do I feel so empty? Right? Like, why isn't it working? Why aren't I happy? And it's not until we sit down and we go, well, what does success really mean for me? That we can then get out of our own way, right? Get out of our own head and stop thinking just about this idea of, well, other people would be happy here, and so I'm here. But I feel constrained, right? I feel limited by that. And so the only way to get unstuck is to figure out what makes you happy and where you want to be, and then really like go for that with everything you have.
Yeah. And really align resources. So sometimes not doing some things are just as powerful in allowing you to go full force at the things that mean something.
For sure. You can't, I spent a lot of time doing everything, right? Because you get like one life and I want all of it. I want to have like 7 lives in this life. And the only way to be able to do more is to actually say no to stuff. And so I spent a lot of time researching like, how do you say no? And I got all this advice like, well, you should demur and you should deflect or, what to say no to, but there was never anything that talked about what to say yes to. And so I now have this like sort of like a 3-part question that I ask myself. And the first is it going to help me, right? Do I understand how on the other side of this task, this project, this class, this sucker punch of a bake sale or whatever it is I'm being asked to do, can I see myself being closer to my goal when I'm done with it than right now, right? And if the answer is yes, then do it. The second thing is, will it help someone else, right? So if there's something that I'm doing that I can clearly see that is going to help somebody else get to where they're going to be, then I'm going to do that too, right? And then the third thing is, if it doesn't help me, but it doesn't help someone else, but frankly, it causes me joy, I'm going to Conmary the shit out of that all day long, right? I fully believe that there's got to be a reason, right? And you see all this, like if it's not a hell no, or not a hell yes, it's a hell no. But it really has to fit. So you have to figure out, like, where do I want to go? And then does it make sense for me to do this thing? And if it doesn't, just say no. Like, you're not that important. I'm not that important. They're going to find someone else to bake the muffins. Like, it's going to be okay. Like, you're just the most proximate warm body. But if you say no to things, you make so much more room to say yes.
Right. Yes. You make more room to say yes. I love it. Can you share a funny story?
About what? I've been in Vegas for 24 hours. I don't know.
Well, a lot can happen in 24 hours. About your growth along the way?
A funny story of my growth along the way. I can tell you how I got my first paid job in the White House.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I had dropped out of law school because I heard this governor from this tiny state in the South talk about this idea of community service in exchange for college tuition. And I thought, oh my God, that needs to happen. I have to go help make that happen. And ended up building AmeriCorps in the process, which is one of the proudest things I've done. But I spent 6 weeks in the beginning sitting in a basement in the White House doing data entry for free, right? I was being paid in all the idealism I could eat. And then one day there was a sign on the wall for giving blood. Now, I noticed that the guy who ran the Office of National Service had his name at the 10 o'clock spot, and there were a couple other people, and there was one spot left. Now, I have vasovagal syncope, which basically means I have low blood pressure and I pass out when I get dehydrated. Giving blood, not always the most fun experience, right? But I signed up. Because I thought 15 minutes, we're literally going to be like strapped down to the table.
Even if I pass out after 10.
Even if I pass out, I've got a captured audience, right? I'm literally willing to give blood for this job. I figured, that might work. So I tell people that all the time when they're like, I'm not really so sure, like, if I want to do this, I'm not willing to. So I say, well, are you willing to give blood for it? Because if you're not willing to give blood for it, you don't really want it. Yeah.
I love that. And did you pass out?
I passed out, but not until I waited on the table until he got up and left before I stood up. And then as soon as I stood up,
That was that.
gone, done.
Good for you, though. How cool. And I love that, just capitalizing and being really perceptive and aware, too, to even notice that the name was there and go, huh, that could be an opportunity.
I mean, sometimes the greatest learning opportunities and the greatest relationship building opportunities don't come from having the one-on-one conversation like in the office or the let me pick your brain coffee. It comes from walking the person to the elevator or riding in the car with them to get whatever meeting they're going to, but just making yourself available on their time so that you can absorb whatever greatness they have, because you never know what's going to happen.
Right. Right. And what's the worst case? You just spend some time on an elevator and absorb, like you said.
Exactly. The worst case is you go out of your way a little bit, and maybe you find a good coffee shop there.
Right. Exactly. All right. So now are you ready? You think that
I'm
we
ready.
can do
I'm
this?
really
Let's
excited.
do this. So we reached out, as I mentioned, to all of you and asked for some questions and put it on social media. So thank you to everybody that sent your info in. And if you happen to not see your video here, we're still going to try our best to answer those responses and reach back out to you and get some ideas. So even if we aren't able to tackle it right now and here, it's going to be tackled. I promise. We're after this. We're going after this. So let's check it out. Let's give it a try, shall we? We're just going to go for it. So now we'll ask Scott to play Sarah from Hawaii.
I'm currently working in a job that I don't love, but I'm not sure what I want to do that would make me happy. So how do I find my passion and turn that into a paycheck?
All right, Sarah, I think that is a great question. And it's a question I get asked all the time because we get this terrible advice like, go follow your passion. And the truth is, like, that's just terrible advice. It's terrible. Like, passion's going to screw you up. It's going to deflate you. It's going to ruin your bank account. You got to invest in your passion. You've got to really be willing to get beaten up for it. So I would say I would ask myself two questions. And the first is, what do I love to do? And the second is, what does the world need? And somewhere in the middle of that Venn diagram is what you can actually get paid for. So if there's something you love to do that the world needs, great. That's your passion. That's how you turn your passion into a paycheck. Now, if your passion is one-handed flame-throwing unicycle riding, that's going to be hard to get paid for. But you can think about what it is you like about that. So if what you like about that is you like the danger, you like the risk, you like being outdoors, then you can find jobs that give you that. So if you can't figure out a way to get your passion to give you a paycheck, figure out what it is about your passion that you're passionate about.
I love it. And another idea or another kind of frame of reference for you, Sarah, is the job that you're in helping you get to some sort of end goal? So if you've identified what that end goal is and you are able, and if you haven't done so, to do the Venn diagram example that Laura just gave you is excellent. And is that job going to help you get there? And if so, not everybody likes their job. There's lots of things about my job that I don't like. And so suck it up, Buttercup. If you need to make some shit happen in order to get your job and get where you need to be, then make it happen. But if it isn't a job for you and it's not where you are wanting to be and it isn't helping get you to your end goal and that passion that you want to be at and helping change the world, then find somebody that's really good at what you do or what you want to do and see how you can emulate that individual or learn from them or reach out to them and find out things that their strategies that they might be doing to build growth and success in their career.
Yeah, I love that. And I think it's also really important to note that your passion doesn't necessarily have to be like something that's good for the world. Like it may be that your passion is buying a Maserati. It may be that your passion is, financial freedom. It may be your passion is feeding the hungry. Like whatever your passion is your passion. And I think we spend so much time worrying if our passion's acceptable to other people. And I think we have to just
or romantic
own it.
or any of those things. And if it's buying a Maserati, cool. Well, you still got to go to work to get that paycheck.
Exactly. So you may be willing to do something you don't love as much for your job, for your paycheck, because your real passion isn't the thing you do all day. Your real passion is that Maserati, and that's okay too.
But keeping your eyes on the prize and knowing why you're there and putting in the time can be really powerful. I've heard one of our previous guests say that sometimes it's okay to be the fly, to be the one that's willing to lay on the shit, to do the stinky jobs in order to just make things happen. Because an organization needs people to make things happen too.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if they pay that fly well.
Yeah, no doubt. If there's Maseratis involved.
Everyone's got a price. You can pay me in Maseratis. I once had a friend in the speaking industry who did an event for a national burger chain, and he got paid with the check, but also with a card that gave him all he could eat burgers for the rest of his life. And I thought, oh, where do I get that gig? That's a good gig.
All you can eat burgers, I'm in. Okay, so thank you, Sarah, for being a part of this today. And now let's head out to Kobe.
I just want to start off by saying that I love your podcast. I listen to it all the time. But my question for you today is how can we as young professionals express the desire and readiness to move up in a company without C-suites feeling like that we're too young or we're not ready? And when do we know that it's time to cut ties and choose a different path?
Thank you, Kobe. Way to represent the hot box in your question. I love that. Thank you so much. And the first thing I want to put out there when it comes to young leaders is it's hard to visualize someone in a position or in a leadership job. And we know that our Sheryl Sandberg is famous for saying that it's hard to visualize her as a leader if she's always waiting to be told what to do, right? So if you want to be in the leadership role, start living as a leader right now. And I think that the greatest difference sometimes with young people is that they'll do anything. I'll do anything that you ask me to do. Just tell me what to do and I'm on it. Well, what the differentiator then becomes is find those things to do on your own, make those steps, create those opportunities. Another piece with young people as they mature into leadership positions, I think has a lot to do with emotional intelligence and emotional maturity, the drama that things become instead of getting to results and handling business. And so do a check yourself on your emotional maturity and your emotional intelligence and ways that you might be able to improve that, or at least change the perception of others. And that's kind of the final thing. And I'll throw it over to Laura. The final piece of that is manage the perception in your brand. Whatever your personal brand is, if you are being perceived as others as too young for the job, why are you giving that perception? And how can you begin to change that perception? So if it's emotional maturity, if it's your personal brand, if it's just getting out there and doing the job and then being the one that says yes, being the one that actually puts in the work, then people will start to see that. But honestly, when it comes to your current position and whether or not it's time to cut the ties, I think my philosophy is the best way to get over a man is to get under a new one. Is that terrible? That's terrible. So essentially what I mean by that in a perfectly appropriate way is, I ruffle my hair is...
So I can curse on the show, right?
Yeah.
That's okay now.
It's and I don't mean that from a woman's standpoint. A woman. Now you guys are making my cheeks pink. Great individuals, great Kobe. But the reason I said that, the reason I put it out there for today is keep your resume fresh. The best way for you to think about whether or not this job is right for you is to make sure that you're out opening and seeking opportunities and being ready to hop on the next one, because it's hard to hop on. Yeah. It just keeps coming. But it's hard to leave a job now and then to be in a place where you don't have another chance. So I'm gonna let you just have that one.
Top that, top that. Okay, so here's what I would say. Yes to all of that, even all of that. But what I would say is, if you're worried about how to ask for the promotion, I would tell you to stop worrying about how to ask for the promotion. I would start worrying about how to ask for the opportunities and the skills and the network and the knowledge that would make you worthy of the promotion. So we spend all this time thinking like, oh, I wish I had a boyfriend, or oh, I wish I, had lots of money in my bank, or oh, I wish I had a promotion. But what you should be working towards is not the wish of those things, but what you need that will make you available to those. So you're not in the deal flow unless you get yourself on the right project. And if you're not on the right project, you're not in the deal flow, then when it comes down to decide who's going to get the next promotion, the higher ups aren't going to think of you. So my advice to you would be, make sure that you get yourself in a place where you're constantly learning new things, where you're getting on new projects, where you are getting exposure to the people who are making the decisions about who's going to be on the right projects that put them spotlighted for that. And if you can't get onto those projects, and if the higher-ups aren't investing you in that way, that's when you cut ties, because they're not investing in you. So if they're investing in you and they're putting you there, and maybe it's taking a little longer than you want, that's fine. They're still investing in you, right? So bide your time, relax, it's coming. Never as fast as you want, but it's coming. But most importantly, make sure that you're the person who's worthy of the promotion, not just the person who wants the promotion.
Love it. Thank you. That's awesome. Let's go to Daniel from Texas.
Hello, Strategic Hotbox. I'm Daniel Valdez from Austin, Texas, and I was just wondering what things, habits, or tasks can we do on a daily basis in order to improve and develop our leadership skills as we continue to move up within our career?
Oh, I love this. And I love this question, Daniel, very specifically because there was a moment in my career as I was growing into my leadership where I realized I hadn't learned anything new in a really long time. And I couldn't quite figure out why that was. I was like, am I just being lazy? Am I too busy? Am I not surrounded by the right people? What am I doing? And then I realized that every time I moved up in my career, I was expected to talk more. And because people want to hear what I said, I was the leader of the project or the division or the company. And every time I was expected to talk more, I couldn't listen as much because I was so busy talking. There was no time to listen. So I would say, as you move up in your career, make time to learn, make time to read, have time on your calendar once a week, call it study hall, call it whatever you want to call it, but make sure that you are constantly learning new things by either reading, by exposing yourself to new people, by having conversations. Surround yourself with people who don't agree with you, so they challenge your thinking about things, and practice getting up in public and saying things that might not be so popular so that you can experience the kind of conversation that you have to have in the public eye in order to do that.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And being ready for that opportunity. So the two kind of concepts that I might think about in this is to write in pencil and wear comfortable shoes. Write in pencil in the fact of you can erase it. Life is going to change. Life is going to shift, and things are never going to happen the way that you intend for them to happen. And so be flexible enough to be able to move and be agile and develop some of the things that Laura was just mentioning. And then the wear comfortable shoes is if you take it from a literal standpoint, if you have shoes on that aren't comfortable, maybe you went to that wedding and you're in those fancy shoes and they aren't comfortable, then all you can think about is your uncomfortable feet, right? And so if you're in comfortable shoes, if you're ready to rock, then you're ready to run, you're ready to be chased, you're ready to chase, you're ready to do whatever it takes to make things happen. And I think so often doors will open and people are like, it's just not the right time. And maybe that's true, but make it the right time. If you're ready and you want to have those habits and you're building some of those skills that you have, be flexible and knowing that life never works out the way that we want it to. But when the opportunity does come knocking, either create it, go open doors and try to find it, or be ready to run when the time is right.
Yeah, because isn't it amazing? Like, success never looks like what you expect it to look like.
It
I mean,
really
10 years
doesn't.
ago, could you have said, I'm going to be doing this show, I'm going to be talking to people about these ideas? I have never thought I would have been a speaker. This was never
Right.
the plan. And yet here we sit, successful women, happy with what we're doing. But it was if I written my plan in pen,
Right. Right.
I would
disappointed.
be
Yeah.
pretty miserable right now. But the fact that there's an adventure around every corner, if you just look hard enough, makes life so much more fun.
It totally does. And volunteering throughout the process of that. I mean, you referenced it before, but being ready to just, okay, I'll try that. Okay. Some stuff sticks, some stuff doesn't, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to embrace the suck, right? Sometimes it's not going to be fun. Sometimes it's more work than you expected. Sometimes you get halfway through and you're like, this is not what I expected, not what I wanted, and you turn around. And, failure is not finale. Failure's fulcrum, but only if you look at it that way, right? So if you look at it as definitional, you're going to be miserable. If you look at its constant learning experience, then you're able to, kick ass and grow.
Get back up. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Let's, I think we have time for one more at least. Let's talk to Megan from Texas.
How do I get the buy-in from my current management team to explore opportunities that might ultimately take me away from my current role?
Getting buy-in. This one's really, really a difficult one, and also can create challenge for you throughout in wanting to progress and making sure that people are champions for you within your organizations or advocates for you. So the first thing that you can do, I think, is to make it their idea, to be as involved in the process with your boss or decision maker or gatekeeper at this point in your progression. So manage your boss in a sense. Find out exactly how they like to communicate, give it to them just like that. And if they like to be really involved, or they like to be the one make the decision, go in with options. Do I join this committee or this committee? Not, can I join a committee? So giving them the ability to make some decisions while still being proactive and driving the things that you want to drive. And also perseverance is going to be a piece of that. If you want to make something happen, then continue to fight for it. One thing I would avoid against is going around around your boss, around executives, or advocating outwards and trying, and as a way to infiltrate, because then people can feel like there was some, that you went around them. Really, they just feel like that you weren't building or trusting relationship. That can actually hurt more than sometimes people think. Well, if I got everybody else excited, then it would. And really, you got to go to the person that might be the biggest resistance to have them, help you facilitate that success.
Yeah, I love your idea about it being their idea. We call that the red coat, blue coat strategy in my house. I present my kids 2 coats. Would you like the red coat or the blue coat? You don't ask a 6-year-old if they want to wear a coat.
Because they'll say no.
They're going to say no. I live in Boston. It's 10 degrees in the winter. You have to make sure that, you've already pre-approved the choices. So I think that that as you're thinking about the question, you're thinking about, how do I solve my problem? Right? How do I figure out a way so that I can get more skills so that I can get the promotion? And I want you to think about the problem in your boss's problem. So your boss's problem is that they need to meet their monthly goal, their quarterly goal, their annual goal. And in addition to making it their idea, it's really important to solve their problem. So if you show them the skills that you're going to get that are going to increase your ability to solve their problem, they're going to be all for it. Now, the question of what if it means you might eventually leave, tough love, you're replaceable. We're all replaceable. The graveyard is filled with irreplaceable people, and they know you're going to leave one day. Spoiler alert, right? We're all going to leave one day. So I think it's okay if they have that worry. Frankly, if you get better skills and you help them solve their problems, they're going to work harder and pay you more to keep you. So it's okay for them to have that problem.
I think that's great. Absolutely. So all in all, what do you think for each of the individuals? It sounds like they're all pretty real world challenges that they're facing.
Yeah, I think they're great challenges. And I think it comes down to, what is it they really want? At the end of the day, what do they want? Where do they want to go? How do they define success? And then how do they line up the right champions and mentors and friends and support so that they have people pushing in the right direction to get them there?
So let's go out to our shout out, and then we'll wrap it up, and maybe let's do a live kick-ass together. Want to do that? All right. Here's our shout out.
Belfast at the Crown, waiting to meet with Lord Jameson's, and just wanted to send a big shout out to my baby girl, Brandi Stankovic. Look to see her on Strategic Hot Box.
Aw, thank you. Before he heads out to meet some Lord Jamesons, I think that's so... Thank you. It was nice to have a shot. Now my face is really getting red. I love that all these challenges of people, making me blush here on the Hot Box. But thank you to Mike Stankovic for sending me a shout out there from Belfast. So let's think about kicking ass. If we could boil it all together of all the people that came to us and said, these different challenges, if we could take it down to a top 5, what would it be? What's the first one you think that was a summary of all the different questions? And
I would say keep learning.
Keep learning. Yes, a continual process of growth. I love that. Another one might be to cut through the bullshit, right? And letting go of things that aren't serving you, whether it's going after your passion or it's getting a boss to make a decision or whatever, but give yourself time for more yes, right? Being able to say no to seek the yes.
Yeah.
Cut through the bullshit.
Yeah. I think framing your wants in other people's needs.
So making sure that, and tell me more about that.
Well, that the thing that you want as you're presenting to somebody, nobody cares about what you want. They care if you're going to solve their problem. So solve other people's problems.
Yeah. So whether it's managing the boss or making it their idea or just framing your want within their needs. Love that. That just rolls off the tongue really well. All right. So there's 3. Let's give a couple more.
I would say own the Maserati dream.
Own the Maserati.
If that's what you want it with everything you have. Like, lean into that. That's
Put
okay.
in whatever time it takes to go after that piece.
If you want to cure cancer, go cure cancer. If you want to buy a Maserati, go and buy a Maserati. But go after your dream. You're the only one who gets a vote.
Yes, and start. Along with that, number 5 being. Start wearing the suit now. Start living the dream now. Start being the person you want to be. So when someone says, ooh, I need somebody to be in that leadership role, of course you're top of mind because
you're central casting.
You're already there doing the work and being the person that's making things happen.
Absolutely. I
love it. There's your top 5. Kick ass. So So thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this. It was fun.
So fun.
It went by really quickly. And so there, we have the answers for those few people that came back. So what we'd love to do maybe is we'll connect with them and see, if they like our answers, if they're like, meh, and then
if they put them into practice.
Yes, exactly. If we can execute on some of those concepts and ideas that we had out there, and then we'll circle back to each other and figure out what happens from there.
That's awesome.
So thank you for being a part of the Hot Box with us today. If you want to send us any feedback or give us some more info, podcast@strategichotbox.com, or hit us up on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook or the World Wide Webs. Somewhere out there. Until I see you again, get out there and kick some ass.